Growing older is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your journey, your resilience, and the countless lessons woven into your story. In a world that often rushes forward, there's tremendous power in the wisdom you've gathered across decades of living. If you've ever asked yourself, how can I stay emotionally strong and adaptive after 80? You're in the right place. Today, we're sharing 7 key strategies that speak straight to your remarkable spirit, each one designed to help you find deeper peace and renewed purpose at every turn. Feeling left behind is natural when everything around you changes. Friends pass on, families relocate, and once familiar routines become distant memories. Yet, with the right insights, you can embrace these changes and turn them into opportunities for growth. Every tip in this video is built upon real-life wisdom, pulled from elders who've walked this path before. They've stumbled, they've learned, and they've found a steady, meaningful way to move forward. Listen closely, because the final tip is more than a piece of advice. It's a heartfelt gift for your journey ahead. It holds a gentle power to remind you that no matter what, your capacity for joy and resilience never fades. By the end of this video, you'll feel uplifted, ready to face the future with renewed confidence. If you enjoy this guide, comment your country so we know who's with us. If not, share your age. We still want to hear your story. Hit that subscribe button, too, because you deserve a community that celebrates your wisdom. Your next chapter is waiting. Let's discover it together. Remember, you've come this far for a reason, and your life story is still unfolding. Each tip you'll learn today is a stepping stone, guiding you toward a brighter, fulfilling outlook on the days ahead. Number 1 is acceptance is the cornerstone of emotional freedom. At every stage of life, especially after 80, we're faced with circumstances we cannot change. Our bodies may ache, we may walk a little slower, and our circle of friends might become smaller. Yet acceptance is not about giving up. It's about recognizing what is beyond our control and choosing to embrace the present moment with grace. When you accept that certain doors have closed, you free your mind from the exhausting task of trying to force them open. This energy can be redirected into cherishing what you still have, exploring new opportunities, and nurturing relationships that enrich your life. Think about how often the mind replays old regrets or clings to wishes that things were different. We might lament lost youth, changed family dynamics, or unfulfilled dreams. But acceptance transforms regret into gratitude. Instead of resenting the passing of time, we learn to value the precious nature of each new day. We wake up and say, I'm here for another morning. My heart is still beating. My mind can still learn. I can still laugh and love. By making this shift, we acknowledge that the past is unchangeable and the future is uncertain, but the present is alive with potential. Acceptance tells us, this is your life right now, embrace it fully. Many people after 80 find themselves looking back on the roads not taken. Perhaps you wished you traveled more, started a business, pursued a certain career, or reconciled with an estranged family member. Regret can weigh heavily. But remember that regret often stems from the illusion that there was a perfect path you missed. In reality, every choice you made brought you to this moment, with its own lessons and blessings. Accepting the past does not mean you deny any pain or disappointment. Instead, it means recognizing that every regret once had a context. Maybe you were doing the best you could with the information you had at the time. Acceptance lets you look upon your memories with empathy and softness rather than harsh judgment. Shifting from regret to gratitude is a daily practice. One simple way is to start every morning by naming 3 things you're grateful for. These can be small: waking up without pain, seeing the sunshine, or hearing a friendly voice. Over time, this habit rewires the brain to look for reasons to appreciate life instead of lamenting what's missing. Another way is to engage in mindful awareness of the present. When you feel regret bubbling up, pause. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Then gently redirect your thoughts to something positive about your current situation. This is not about ignoring painful emotions, but choosing not to give them total control. An 85-year-old man once shared his story of acceptance. He had been a marathon runner in his youth. Into his 70s, he still jogged regularly, but around 80, severe arthritis and a heart condition forced him to stop running altogether. For years, he felt bitter. Running was not just an activity, it was part of his identity. Yet he found new joy by accepting his limitations and focusing on what he could do. He took up brisk walking gradually, built up stamina, and started volunteering at local walking clubs to guide slower-paced groups. Acceptance didn't cure his arthritis or reverse his heart condition, but it freed him from the mindset that his life was over once he stopped running. He discovered new friendships, meaningful service, and a sense of accomplishment in adapting rather than resisting. This story reminds us that acceptance is about focusing on what remains possible rather than dwelling on what's lost. It's about recognizing that aging is a natural phase of life, with its own rewards and insights. When we fight against the tide of time, we expend energy in a losing battle. When we embrace each stage, we open ourselves to discovering the beauty in it. Acceptance also extends to relationships. After 80, friends or relatives may pass away, move to retirement communities, or become distant due to health or personal circumstances. It's painful to see your circle grow smaller, but acceptance allows you to cherish the connections you still have and remain open to making new ones. Moreover, acceptance helps us cope with changes in technology and societal norms. The world you grew up in is different from the one you see now. Instead of dismissing new inventions, social media, or evolving cultural values, acknowledging their reality can relieve frustration. You don't have to like everything about modern life, but you can accept that it is what it is. Many elders find that learning just a bit about new technology, like how to video call a grandchild, bridges the gap between generations. Acceptance in this context doesn't mean forcing yourself to become an expert, but understanding that these changes won't go away and can be tools to enhance connection if approached with an open mind. There's a tremendous sense of peace that accompanies acceptance. It's like laying down a heavy burden you've been carrying for years. The key is to recognize the line between what can be changed, like improving your fitness level within your limits, and what cannot be changed, like chronological aging or certain health issues. Accepting the things you cannot change liberates you from the futile struggle against reality. At the same time, it frees up emotional space to address what you can still influence, such as your attitude, the atmosphere of your home, or the kindness you show others. Some might worry that acceptance is passive, a kind of surrender. Far from it. Acceptance is a form of wisdom. It's an active decision to remain engaged with life without being trapped by illusions or resentments. It's discovering that while you may not control the length of your life, you have a profound influence on its depth. Acceptance says, I will do the best with what I have and find joy in what remains possible. This mindset fosters resilience, helps mitigate depression, and promotes better coping skills during hardships. When you practice acceptance daily, you also become a role model. Younger generations look to how elders handle aging, and your acceptance can inspire them to face their own challenges with courage. Your ability to adapt gracefully shows them that life remains valuable and beautiful at every stage. Instead of seeing aging as a decline, they can see it as an ongoing journey of discovery and growth. Whether it's a health diagnosis, a loss, or a major life transition, acceptance lays the groundwork for emotional peace. This peace does not mean the absence of sorrow. It means having a safe internal space where sorrow can be acknowledged, felt, and gently released. Acceptance prepares the heart for healing. It paves the way for letting go of past burdens, which is the next essential step in staying emotionally strong after 80. Number 2 is, what weighs you down, hold you back. This statement is especially true for the burdens we carry in our hearts. While acceptance acknowledges what cannot be changed, letting go deals with consciously releasing emotional weights, anger, regret, guilt, and conflict. Age often brings a backlog of personal history. Perhaps we've had falling outs with family members, resentments toward old friends, or regrets about decisions made decades ago. Holding on to these burdens can drain our emotional energy and cloud our capacity for joy. One of the greatest acts of wisdom is learning to forgive yourself and others. Forgiveness does not mean you approve of a hurtful action, nor does it always mean reconciliation. It's about releasing the power that pain or resentment has over you. Think of forgiveness as cutting a tether that keeps you tied to a painful event. By letting go, you free yourself to move forward with greater lightness. Holding on to anger or grudges can be like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. The only person truly harmed is you, weighed down by bitterness. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing the significance of what happened. It means recognizing that past events no longer need to dictate your present feelings. Many elders have found peace by writing letters they never send, letters that express their hurts, their grievances, and ultimately their decision to release them. This private exercise can unearth deeply buried emotions that need acknowledgement before they can be set free. Another aspect of letting go is acknowledging regrets. Maybe you wish you had spent more time with a loved one who passed away. Or perhaps you regret a decision that changed the course of your life. Dwelling on these regrets can create a constant undercurrent of sadness or self-blame. Letting go of regret involves honest reflection about what happened, why it happened, and how you've learned from it. Then, you give yourself permission to move on. Instead of being anchored to the past, you transform the regret into motivation to live more fully now. Maybe you reach out more often to the loved ones still in your life, or you pursue a dream you once set aside. Dwelling on the past often means missing opportunities for joy in the present. Life, especially after 80, is too precious to waste on what ifs. By letting go, you make space for new experiences, new relationships, and the freedom to be at peace with yourself. It's like clearing out a cluttered attic filled with outdated items that no longer serve you. Once the attic is cleared, you can decorate it, store valuable keepsakes, or simply enjoy the extra space and fresh air. When we hold on to the idea that someone else must apologize or make amends before we let go, we hand over our power. We become dependent on an external action that may never come. True emotional freedom comes when you realize that letting go is a gift you give yourself. It does not require the other person's permission or participation. This mindset shift can be difficult, especially if you feel you were wronged or betrayed. Yet holding on to resentment doesn't punish the other person, it punishes you. It's liberating to acknowledge pain and choose to release it anyway. Focusing on the present is a powerful ally in letting go. The present moment is the only moment where you have any real influence. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow is not promised. Ground yourself in daily routines and mindful practices that anchor you to the now. Whether it's enjoying a cup of tea with full attention or taking a short walk while noticing every flower and tree, being present helps you break cycles of rumination. Some find the concept of letting go challenging because it feels like losing a part of themselves. Old grudges or regrets can become woven into our identity. I'm the person who was wronged. Or, I'm the person who failed. Letting go can feel like a betrayal of that identity. But ask yourself, do you really want an identity built around pain and sorrow? There is so much more to you than your wounds. By releasing them, you can recenter your identity around wisdom, love, and possibility. It's also important to remember that letting go is not a one-time event. Sometimes, you let go of a particular grievance, only to have memories resurface later. This doesn't mean you failed. It's just a reminder that healing is often a process. each time painful memories return, you have the opportunity to reaffirm your decision to release them. Over time, their intensity diminishes, and your capacity for peace grows stronger. Some of the wisest elders are those who can speak of past hurts without bitterness, acknowledging they happened but no longer allowing them to define their emotional landscape. They've cultivated an internal sanctuary of serenity, where old burdens aren't granted free rein. You can do the same by practicing self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness you would offer a dear friend. Understand that everyone makes mistakes and experiences harm in some form. Learning to let go is a universal journey, not a personal failing. By focusing on letting go, you create a clean emotional slate for yourself. This slate becomes the foundation for new growth, deeper connections, and genuine happiness. Letting go of old conflicts might even reopen a door to relationships that seemed lost. It might not always lead to full reconciliation, but it can offer you closure and peace. Moreover, others may notice your change in energy, seeing you as someone who radiates calmness rather than carrying the weight of old resentments. Consciously deciding to release your burdens is a profound act of self-liberation. It is akin to stepping out of a prison whose bars were constructed by your own mind. The key has always been in your hands. You can choose to let go and walk free, unshackled from the regrets and resentments that no longer serve your well-being. This newfound freedom sets the stage for continual growth and learning, which is exactly what we will explore next. Number 3 is: aging stops the body, but never the mind. After 80, many people assume that learning is no longer relevant. But the exact opposite is true. Mental engagement is critical for emotional strength and overall well-being. When you continue to learn, your mind remains flexible, your spirit vibrant, and your sense of purpose renewed. Lifelong learning can be as simple as reading a new book, trying a new hobby, or diving into a subject you've always been curious about. Why is lifelong learning so crucial? First, it stimulates the brain, helping to keep cognitive functions sharp. Studies show that mental exercises and continued learning can support memory and slow cognitive decline. But beyond the biological benefits, learning can also provide a sense of accomplishment, which is vital for self-esteem at any age. Every time you master a new concept or skill, you prove to yourself that growth doesn't stop at 80 or even 90. Staying curious is a hallmark of emotional resilience. When you approach each day with a desire to discover something new, you focus on possibility rather than limitation. This shift in mindset transforms challenges into adventures. Instead of saying, "I can't do that," you start to wonder, "Could I give that a try?" Whether it's learning to use a new smartphone app, studying a foreign language, or taking up watercolor painting, curiosity keeps life interesting and meaningful. Reading is one of the most accessible forms of continuous learning. Books are windows into other worlds, new ideas, and fresh perspectives. Even if your eyes aren't what they used to be, there are large print books, audiobooks, and e-readers with adjustable font sizes. By reading daily, fiction, history, philosophy, or any subject that intrigues you, you keep your mind active. This mental stimulation can spark new conversations with friends or family, helping you stay socially engaged. Engaging in discussions is another powerful way to keep learning. If you live in a retirement community, you might start or join a book club or discussion group. If you live independently, you can find online forums or local community classes designed for seniors. Sharing and debating ideas fosters intellectual stimulation and social connection. It also helps combat loneliness by bringing people together around shared interests. Technological tools can also be allies in lifelong learning. While technology can be intimidating at first, it offers enormous opportunities if you approach it with an open mind. You can find online courses on virtually any topic, from history to gardening to digital photography. Some platforms offer free classes specifically tailored to seniors. Embracing technology doesn't mean you have to become a computer expert, just that you see it as a gateway to knowledge. And if you have grandchildren or younger relatives, they might be eager to help you navigate these tools, turning it into a bonding experience. Let's draw inspiration from elder philosophers who proved that learning never ends. Consider Socrates, who famously declared that the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Or Michelangelo, who, in his 80's, wrote, Ancora imparo. I am still learning. History is full of individuals who continue to grow and adapt well into their later years. Their examples remind us that an active mind fuels a resilient spirit. Continuous learning also helps you find new ways to share your wisdom. After all, you've lived through decades of experience. Imagine combining that real-world knowledge with newly acquired skills. You could start a small local workshop teaching younger generations about life lessons, practical crafts, or cultural traditions. Or perhaps you can write your memoirs or blog posts, combining your personal history with modern communication tools. Each time you learn something new, you add another dimension to the wisdom you can pass on. Learning can also be therapeutic. Delving into subjects like art, music, or literature offers a chance for emotional expression. Painting a scene from your childhood hometown, for instance, can help you process memories, celebrate your past, and cultivate a sense of creative satisfaction. Creative pursuits reduce stress, ward off negative thinking, and provide a feeling of accomplishment. Plus, the sense of wonder that comes from creating something new is timeless. For those who feel they lack the energy or mobility to engage in certain activities, remember that learning is adaptable. If you cannot travel physically, you can explore new cultures through documentaries or virtual tours online. If you can't attend a physical class, you can join an online course. The key is to focus on what you can do. This perspective fosters empowerment rather than defeat. Lastly, sharing what you learn helps reinforce your new knowledge and keeps you socially involved. Talk about your latest discoveries with friends or family. Encourage them to do the same. Lifelong learning becomes a shared journey, creating a supportive community that values growth. Instead of feeling isolated, you'll be part of a vibrant exchange of ideas. This sense of connection is vital for emotional well-being, especially in your 80's and beyond. A wise mind never stops growing because it recognizes that life itself is a classroom. Every day presents new lessons, from the shifting seasons to global events to your interactions with neighbors. By maintaining the posture of a lifelong student, you remain open to whatever gifts each day brings. This openness provides the mental agility to adapt, the emotional strength to keep going, and the spark of curiosity that makes every morning worth waking up for. Number 4 is, many elders live largely in their memories, revisiting their youth, lost loved ones, or the good old days. While reminiscing can be sweet and comforting, wisdom teaches us to balance the past with a sense of meaning in the present. Reflecting on old memories can become an escape, a way to recapture moments that felt simpler. But a fulfilling life after 80 arises from actively creating and recognizing purpose in the here and now, not just longing for what once was. Choosing meaning over memories doesn't imply that memories aren't valuable. Your past contains treasures of lessons, relationships, and accomplishments. The key is to transform those memories into insights that guide your current life. Instead of dwelling on the glories or regrets of the past, ask yourself, how can I use this experience to enrich today? Perhaps you learned resilience through hardships. Share those coping strategies with younger people. Maybe you once pursued a hobby that's still accessible. Revive it with adaptations suited to your current abilities. Turning experience into valuable lessons for the next generation is one of the most profound ways to find purpose. You hold a wealth of knowledge that younger people can benefit from, whether it's about managing finances, building long-lasting friendships, or navigating life's inevitable ups and downs. By mentoring or simply conversing with younger family members, friends, or community members, you give your experiences new life and help others learn without stumbling over the same obstacles. Staying relevant and useful in your later years can be as simple as offering a listening ear. Many young people feel isolated or misunderstood. Your compassion, shaped by decades of living, can provide them with a sense of belonging and assurance. You can volunteer in community centers, faith-based organizations, or schools, where your presence can be a source of stability and warmth. Whether you're reading to children, teaching them skills, or just being a friendly face, you are contributing meaning to your present life and theirs. Another path to meaning lies in activism or advocacy. Some elders find a renewed sense of purpose by championing causes they care about. Maybe you have strong feelings about environmental conservation, animal welfare, or social justice. Even if you have limited mobility, you can write letters, make phone calls, or spread awareness in your local community or online. The sense that you're part of something larger, that you're leaving the world better than you found it, can energize you. This active involvement helps shift focus from nostalgia to constructive action. The wisdom of simplicity is another key element. Over decades, you might have accumulated possessions and attachments. You might have been driven by ambition or societal expectations. Now could be the time to simplify, to prioritize what genuinely matters: love, friendship, kindness, inner peace. Simplicity is not about giving up possessions or living in austerity. It's about recognizing that real worth is found in experiences, relationships, and small, meaningful gestures. By simplifying your life, physically and mentally, you create space for deeper connection and peace. Living with purpose in the present also guards against the common pitfall of comparing your current self to your younger self. You might not run as fast or remember names as sharply. But there are other forms of growth: greater emotional balance, deeper relationships, and broader perspectives. By focusing on meaningful activities that suit your current life stage, you honor what you can still contribute. A sense of purpose kindles optimism, making each day an opportunity rather than a reminder of limitations. There's a certain joy in knowing that your life story is still unfolding. That might feel contradictory if you're in your 80s or 90s, but as long as you draw breath, you are creating new chapters. These chapters might center on quiet reflection, community engagement, artistic expression, or spiritual exploration. Meaning isn't defined by external measures of success, but by the personal significance you assign to your actions and choices. When you choose meaning, you tap into a timeless source of motivation. Finding purpose also goes hand in hand with gratitude. When you see your contributions making a difference, be it a grandchild's improvement in reading or a neighbor who benefits from your advice, you realize that life still has much to offer. This gratitude renews your emotional resilience, reinforcing that you are not merely existing, but actively shaping your reality. Moments of meaning, however small they may seem, accumulate into a deep sense of fulfillment. Even your memories can be a resource for meaning if you allow them to guide your present actions. Suppose you have wonderful memories of community potlucks in your younger years. Perhaps you could organize a small gathering in your current neighborhood, bringing people together in the spirit of fellowship. Or if you have sorrowful memories, loss, heartbreak, failures, let them sharpen your empathy and compassion for those going through similar struggles now. Rather than living in the past, you use the past as a compass to inform your present journey. As you do so, you'll likely find that meaning exists in the little moments: the morning light through the window, a cup of tea shared with a dear friend, a heartfelt conversation about life with your grandchild. When you focus on purpose, even these everyday experiences become imbued with a certain glow. You're not simply passing time. You're living in a state of intention and awareness. This approach fosters emotional health, protects against despair, and enriches your relationships. The idea of living in meaning over memories, does not disregard the importance of reminiscing or honoring your history. In fact, honoring your past can be part of finding meaning. The difference is that you don't allow memories to become a trap. Instead of saying, "Those were the best years of my life," you say, "I learned so much back then, and I still have so much to give now." You remain open to the possibility that life can still surprise you, delight you, and teach you. By balancing reminiscence with active engagement in the present, you cultivate a mindset that can sustain you through the inevitable challenges of aging. When physical limitations crop up or you lose close friends, your sense of purpose can become a beacon. It reminds you that even in pain, you can find solace and direction. It gives you a reason to keep going, to keep sharing, to keep loving. In this way, living in meaning helps you stand resilient even when life's storms gather. Number 5 is wisdom speaks when the heart is quiet. In our youth, life can feel like a constant rush. Even in later years, the noise of modern society, family obligations, and internal chatter can be overwhelming. Mastering the art of silence and reflection is about creating mental and emotional space, a sanctuary where you can hear your own wisdom. This does not mean isolating yourself from the world, but learning to cultivate an inner calm that anchors you, even in turbulent times. How do you find peace in solitude without feeling lonely? The key lies in distinguishing between solitude and isolation. Solitude is chosen. It's an intentional space for self-discovery. Isolation is often imposed or unwanted. When you choose solitude, you create a serene environment, maybe a cozy chair by the window, a shady spot in the garden, or a quiet corner in your home. You sit, breathe, and allow your thoughts to settle. You might light a candle, play soft instrumental music, or simply enjoy the ambient sounds of nature. The practice of deep thinking, meditation, or mindful living enhances this solitude. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as focusing on your breath for a few minutes, feeling each inhale and exhale. As thoughts arise, you acknowledge them without judgment, then gently bring your focus back to the breath. Over time, this simple practice quiets mental chatter, lowers stress, and helps you connect with your inner self. Some elders find guided meditations helpful, especially those designed for relaxation or spiritual insight. Reflection is another cornerstone of wisdom. By setting aside a few minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts and emotions, you learn how to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Reflection can be journaling or simply thinking through events of the day. Ask yourself, what brought me joy today? Did anything upset me? Why did it upset me? This introspection reveals patterns in your behavior and emotions, offering opportunities for growth. You might discover, for instance, that your frustration isn't just about the present situation but tied to an old wound you need to heal. Stories of elders who found clarity through silence abound. One elder shared how she felt constantly agitated after her spouse passed away. She had always been surrounded by noise, the TV, radio, grandchildren playing, and when she was finally alone, the silence frightened her. Yet she decided to confront this fear by sitting quietly each morning. She started noticing the birds chirping outside, the gentle ticking of the clock, and her own breath. Slowly, silence became her friend, a supportive presence rather than an enemy. Through this process, she learned to process her grief, piece by piece, and eventually found a renewed sense of calm and understanding. Silence also fosters creativity. In the absence of constant external input, your mind has space to wander, imagine, and form new ideas. Some elders pick up painting, poetry, or knitting, finding that quiet reflection opens up a wellspring of creative energy. This creativity can be both therapeutic and joyful, giving you a tangible way to express your inner world. You don't need to be a professional artist. The act of creating something from nothing is itself a form of magic. Moreover, learning to sit in silence teaches you to appreciate the subtleties of life. The texture of your clothes, the way sunlight falls on a table, the sound of distant cars. Moments you might have overlooked become fascinating details in your sensory tapestry. This heightened awareness translates to deeper gratitude. You start valuing the small wonders that make each day special, a perspective that can be especially uplifting when faced with the losses that come in later life. Silence can even improve relationships. When you're comfortable with quiet reflection, you become a better listener. You're less likely to interrupt or react hastily, and more likely to hear what the other person is truly saying. In turn, your patience invites them to open up more. This fosters deeper connections and more meaningful conversations, where both parties feel heard and respected. At first, you may feel uneasy in silence if you're used to a bustling environment. That's normal. The habit of constant distraction often covers up worries or emotional wounds. When silence exposes these issues, it can feel uncomfortable. But it's precisely this discomfort that leads to healing. Facing your inner thoughts and emotions, rather than numbing them with background noise or busy routines, is a powerful step toward emotional strength. Over time, you learn that your inner landscape is not something to fear, but a realm to explore. When you master the art of silence, you give yourself the gift of clarity. Decisions become easier because you aren't constantly bombarded by the opinions or pressures of others. You can discern your own values and desires from those imposed by society. This clarity extends to understanding your emotional triggers. When an upsetting event occurs, taking a moment of silence before responding can save you from rash words or heightened stress. Instead, you respond thoughtfully, in alignment with your deeper wisdom. Reflection also helps you remain resilient in the face of adversity. Life after 80 can bring health challenges, loss, or unexpected changes. Having a reflective practice means you built a safe internal refuge. When storms come, you retreat to that refuge, gather your strength, and emerge with calm resolve. This is not about ignoring problems, but about approaching them from a place of centeredness. Silence becomes your ally, ensuring you respond from your higher self rather than from fear or anxiety. As you incorporate silence and reflection into your daily routine, you cultivate a grounding presence that others can sense. People may notice your calm demeanor and gravitate toward you for advice or companionship. You become a source of comfort and wisdom in your community. This also reinforces your sense of purpose, as you see how your inner work positively impacts those around you. Number 6 is. A wise person knows when to react and when to remain still. Emotions are a powerful force in our lives, shaping our responses to everything from daily annoyances to life's most significant events. After 80, emotional triggers can shift. Perhaps certain reminders stir sorrow, or physical pain fuels frustration. Emotional strength, however, means recognizing these emotions without allowing them to dictate every word and action. Rather than suppressing or denying feelings, emotional wisdom involves acknowledging them, understanding their roots, and consciously deciding how to respond. How can you stay emotionally resilient in difficult times? First, by recognizing that emotions are neither good nor bad, they are signals. Anger might signal a boundary being crossed. Sadness may signal a need to grieve or seek comfort. Fear might signal caution in a new situation. Emotional wisdom is about listening to these signals without being overwhelmed by them. You honor the emotion by understanding its message, then you choose a response that aligns with your values, not just your reflexes. The difference between emotional wisdom and emotional reaction is simple yet profound. An emotional reaction often happens automatically and might be driven by unresolved issues or habitual patterns. For example, if you felt disrespected many times in your life, even a minor slight might trigger an outburst. Emotional wisdom, on the other hand, requires pausing. You notice the anger or hurt rising. You take a deep breath. You ask yourself, is this really about what's happening now, Or is it connected to something deeper? By pausing, you create space for a more thoughtful response, possibly preventing regretful words or actions. Lessons from elders who mastered emotional strength often share a common thread. They practice self-awareness. Self-awareness means you tune into your internal state with curiosity rather than judgment. You accept that feeling upset or sad is a normal part of being human, especially after decades of lived experience. But you also recognize that each emotion passes if you allow it to. Anger that feels all-consuming at one moment can fade if given room to dissipate. By simply observing the emotion, where it sits in your body, what it feels like, what thoughts accompany it, you loosen its grip. Mindfulness techniques can assist in this process. A simple approach is the RAIN technique. Recognize the emotion, allow it to be there, investigate the thoughts or sensations it brings, and nurture yourself with compassion. For instance, if you feel anxious about an upcoming doctor's appointment, you first recognize your anxiety. Then you allow it. Acknowledge that it's there rather than trying to push it away. Next, you investigate. Are you worried about test results, or do you have past experiences that heighten your fear of doctors? Finally, you nurture yourself, perhaps by reassuring words, remembering you've faced challenges before, or even calling a supportive friend. Resilience also comes from perspective. Over 8 or 9 decades, you've weathered countless storms. Reflect on those times you thought you couldn't survive heartbreak or adversity, yet you did. Each obstacle you overcame built emotional muscle. Remembering these victories can embolden you to face current challenges with confidence. This perspective shift reminds you that emotions are transient and that you are capable of withstanding them. Another tip is to surround yourself with emotional allies, friends, family, or community members who understand your journey. Sharing your feelings in a safe environment can diffuse their intensity. You might discover that others have faced similar trials and can offer compassion or wisdom. Conversely, limiting time spent with negative influences, people or environments that constantly stir up conflict, can help maintain emotional balance. While you can't always avoid negativity, you can manage your exposure to it. It's also helpful to cultivate emotional outlets. Whether it's writing in a journal, painting, or listening to music that resonates with your current mood, expressing yourself can prevent emotional buildup. If you're feeling tension or stress, physical activity appropriate for your mobility level can provide relief. Gentle stretching, slow dancing, or simply walking can release endorphins that uplift your mood. Emotional energy often stores itself in the body, and letting it flow through movement can keep it from turning into chronic stress. Emotional wisdom means you recognize that feelings come in waves: joy, sadness, frustration, peace, hope. None are permanent. When negative emotions arise, you hold on to the knowledge that they, too, will pass. When positive emotions grace your day, you savor them fully, knowing they are gifts of the present moment. This balanced view prevents you from being swept away by either extreme. Taking regular moments to breathe deeply or meditate is a powerful way to steady your emotions throughout the day. These mini check-ins can last just a minute or two, helping you reconnect with the present. By doing so, you remain more centered, less likely to react impulsively. Over time, you build an emotional reservoir of calm, a well you can draw upon when life's difficulties intensify. There's no magic switch that makes you immune to emotional turmoil, no matter how old or wise you are. However, each time you practice emotional control rather than being controlled by emotions, you reinforce a healthy pattern. You strengthen the neural pathways in your brain that support calm, thoughtful responses. Just as muscle building requires regular exercise, emotional strength requires consistent practice. Ultimately, learning to govern your emotions is a profound gift you give to yourself and everyone around you. It allows you to engage with your loved ones more kindly, resolve conflicts more peacefully, and accept life's twists and turns with greater equanimity. People might look to you as a model of grace under pressure, which further reinforces your own emotional resilience. It's a virtuous cycle. The more you practice, the more emotionally strong you become, and the more that strength shines outward, benefiting your community and your own spirit. Number 7, which is gift for you. Laughter is wisdom in disguise. Age can sometimes feel heavy, especially when dealing with health issues, losses, or the pace of a rapidly changing world. Yet, maintaining a light heart doesn't mean ignoring the seriousness of life. It means finding joy and gratitude within it. A wise spirit isn't burdened by cynicism or regret. Rather, it's buoyed by a profound appreciation for life's small miracles and the resilience of the human spirit. How do you keep humor, joy, and lightness in your heart? First, you nurture a sense of wonder. Even at 80, 90, or beyond, there are still things you haven't seen or experienced. You can marvel at the moon on a clear night, smile at children playing in a park, or delight in your favorite dessert. By approaching life as if it still has secrets to reveal, you remain open to surprise and delight. Lightheartedness begins with the willingness to be amazed. At the same time, cultivate self-compassion. You might forget things more often or move slower. Rather than being harsh with yourself, laugh gently at these human quirks. The older you get, the more you realize everyone is imperfect. Embrace your imperfections with humor, and you'll find that laughter often dispels frustration. You might joke, "Well, my memory took a holiday, but I'm sure it'll come back soon enough." Such lighthearted acknowledgement eases stress and fosters self-acceptance. The secret of wise elders who remain happy often lies in their ability to appreciate the simple. They find pleasure in a good cup of coffee, a warm blanket, a heartfelt conversation. This doesn't mean they never experience sorrow. It means they don't allow sorrow to eclipse all that is good. By focusing on the blessings still present, they maintain a sense of hope. This focus on blessings can be as ordinary as enjoying the sunrise or calling an old friend just to say hello. Sharing humor with others multiplies its effect. Swap jokes with a neighbor, watch a comedy show with a grandchild, or reminisce about funny moments from the past. Laughter creates bonds, breaking down walls of age and worry. When you see your loved ones laugh with you, it's a reminder that joy is contagious. Even when times are tough, a shared smile can bring people closer and make burdens feel lighter. A wise spirit also recognizes that happiness often coexists with sorrow. Life after 80 is a tapestry of memories, some joyous, some painful. But a light heart doesn't deny pain. It weaves threads of laughter and gratitude alongside it. You learn to hold both sadness and joy in the same breath, allowing each to enrich your understanding of life. The presence of sorrow only makes genuine happiness more precious. Finding a sense of playfulness can also help. This might mean engaging in games, puzzles, or hobbies that spark your playful side. Whether it's solving crossword puzzles, playing card games, or enjoying light physical activities like Tai Chi, you can infuse your daily routine with a sense of fun. Children naturally know how to play. Sometimes, relearning how to play as an adult is the key to rediscovering a light heart. Emotional renewal can also be found in spiritual or religious practices. Many elders find solace in prayer, communal worship, or personal devotion. This sense of connection to something greater can alleviate existential worries and bring peace. When you feel a part of a larger plan or community, your burdens become more bearable. Gratitude grows, and joy can slip through even the darkest cracks of life. Reflecting on your journey and sharing final words of encouragement for viewers can be both satisfying and uplifting. By acknowledging how far you've come, you foster pride in your resilience. Encouraging others at the same time magnifies that pride into purpose. You realize that even in your later years, you can profoundly impact others' lives. When you close your eyes at night, knowing that you've helped, inspired, or comforted someone, your heart feels a little lighter. Ultimately, to live with a light heart and a wise spirit is to be fully alive. You accept the past, release what no longer serves you, keep learning, find meaning in the present, cultivate silence and reflection, and guide your emotions. Through this journey, you discover that gratitude, humor, and kindness are timeless antidotes to despair. No matter your age, a smile can brighten a room, a kind word can transform a day, and a moment of laughter can heal a weary soul. Embodying lightness and wisdom doesn't deny life's seriousness, it honors life's totality. You've seen decades of change, loss, and triumph. You know how fragile and beautiful existence can be. Instead of letting that knowledge weigh you down, you let it elevate you. You approach each morning as a miracle, each interaction as an opportunity to share warmth. You see that life's fragility makes every connection more meaningful. With this perspective, you can face whatever comes next with resilience, grace, and a spark of joy in your eye. Your wisdom is your power. Use it well and live fully. You are not just old, you are wise. If this video helped you, comment your country. If not, comment your age. ***, we want to hear from you. Subscribe to Wise Seniors Hub for more wisdom-filled content. Your best years are now.